Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Young here and welcome to another Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes news update. After an explosion of Assassin's Creed 4 news, I can finally take a break from that game to talk about one that's gone dark since Hideo Kojima revealed it a few months back. Today I have some good news and some bad news. So first, the good news. For those unaware, GDC 2013, the annual March conference on game development, is coming up very soon. This year, the event will take place from March 25th to March 29th. And between those dates, on March 27th, Hideo Kojima is going to take the stage and host the event called Photorealism Through the Eyes of a Fox, the core of Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes. Now, initially the event was going to be 60 minutes long, just enough to talk about the Fox engine and a little bit about Ground Zeroes, perhaps just enough time to reveal a new trailer. But recently, Kojima's event was extended to 90 minutes, as tweeted by Kojima along with GDC overseer Simon Carless. For Kojima and his team, this added 30 minutes of valuable time will allow them to show both the engine and Ground Zeroes extensively. In other words, expect a huge blowout of this game on March 27th, which also happens to be my birthday! Oh, Kojima, you thoughtful, magnificent bastard, you. All joking aside, we can expect to see at least one new trailer, along with some real-time live gameplay footage. The trailer is a given, considering Hideo Kojima teased via Twitter on March 5th that he was editing a new trailer for his next game, which is undoubtedly Ground Zeroes. So that is the good news, folks. Mark your calendars for March 27th and expect a Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes explosion. And now for the bad news. So you all know David Hayter, right? He is just the American voice for Snake, no big deal. As it turns out, he may not be voicing Big Boss in the upcoming Ground Zeroes. Now before you go around punching monitors and flipping tables, hear me out. If this is indeed true, there's a good reason for this. And notice how I said if, meaning this isn't a confirmed fact, so there is hope. This idea that David Hayter may not be voicing Snake in Ground Zeroes started with a tweet by David himself. Here's what he tweeted on March 2nd. Informal poll. How would you react if I didn't play Snake in the next Metal Gear? Now those curious about the results, only 12% said no big deal, to whom he responded, "You're all dead to me, by the way." Now there's a lot of speculation as to why David would post something like this. Is he trying to move on from Metal Gear and Solid Snake to pursue other goals? Is there behind the scenes drama going on? Here is my professional opinion. The simple answer as to why David Hayter may not be voicing Big Boss in Ground Zeroes is simply because Big Boss is getting older. As you can see from this trailer, while the man still has brown hair, he is clearly looking less like a Solid Snake look-alike and more like the Outer Heaven Big Boss, the old guy we've seen in concept arts, and the old guy we have seen in, spoiler alert, Metal Gear Solid 4. If you've played Metal Gear Solid 4, you'll know that an old Big Boss makes an appearance in the game who resembles the Ground Zeroes model. In games like Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, it was appropriate for David Hayter to voice Big Boss because in his younger days he looked identical to Solid Snake, a clone. But as Big Boss gets older, the genetical differences start to show, and eventually Big Boss no longer looks or sounds like his future clone. In Metal Gear Solid 4, Big Boss is voiced by Richard Doyle for that reason. In other words, Richard Doyle may end up being the voice of the older Big Boss we see here in Ground Zeroes. Now, moving on the other end of the spectrum, here's why there's still hope that David Hayter will be reprising his role as Big Boss. If you check out the Japanese footage of Ground Zeroes, you will notice that the voice actor is none other than Akio Otsuka, aka the Japanese David Hayter, the Japanese voice of iconic characters Solid Snake and Big Boss. In Metal Gear Solid 4, the old Big Boss was played by Akio's father, Chikao Otsuka. The fact that Akio is the one playing the role of Big Boss in Ground Zeroes, rather than his father, Chikao, who played Big Boss in Metal Gear Solid 4, could mean that David Hayter will play Big Boss instead of Richard Doyle. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. In summary, the good news is that we are guaranteed to get tons of new information and footage of Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes on March 27th. And the bad news is that David Hayter may not be returning as the voice of Big Boss based on his tweet and the fact that Big Boss is getting older, meaning Richard Doyle may take his place. But the fact that the original Japanese voice actor for Snake is reprising his role could mean that David will also be reprising his role as well. Maybe that tweet with the informal poll was just David's curiosity. Let me know in the comments below whether you think David Hayter will or will not return as Big Boss in this upcoming game. To be further updated on Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, be sure to join the NASIAN and subscribe to Young Gear. I also cover other AAA franchises like Elder Scrolls, Fallout, The Legend of Zelda, Assassin's Creed, and much more. In my channel, you will also find game cinemas like the upcoming Skyrim movie Dragonborn, along with upcoming game reviews. So hit that subscribe button and join the NASIAN, because every gamer needs an Asian. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much, and Young out.